So it seems that Islam Makhachev will fight Charles Oliveira in Abu Dhabi in October. And honestly, guys, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to make short work of Oliveira. And then he's going to be basically out of options at lightweight. Okay, there is no clear cut contender really left. And Volk, I think he's going to have his hands full at featherweight. So I don't think he's going to be available for a fight. And I don't think Islam Makhachev is going to want to wait for Volk to have to bulk up to lightweight again. So that leaves one option that Islam's talked about in the past. What is it? Well, he wants to be a double champ at welterweight, and it seems to me like after Charles Oliveira is defeated by Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi, I think Leon Edwards will fight Islam Makhachev. And honestly, guys, I really think Leon Edwards has a good chance of winning this fight. I think it's really good. I think he's a kind of like a nightmare matchup for Islam Makhachev. And I'm going to be breaking it down in this video why I think so. So if you're new here, subscribe. I'm Tizzer MMA. Leave a like if you enjoyed this breakdown and this fight prediction. But here's why I think that Leon Edwards can beat Islam Makhachev. So obviously, one of the biggest things that is definitely a factor in this fight is the fact that Leon Edwards is much bigger than anyone Makachev has ever faced, okay? Makachev is usually always bigger than his opponents, and especially in the Volk fight, he's way bigger than Volk, okay? Volk is a small lightweight, Makachev is a very big lightweight. But Leon is not really a small welterweight by any means, you know. He's not the biggest welterweight, but he's certainly not small. So um, Edwards is certainly bigger than Makachev from what I've seen. I think Edwards is roughly 6 foot, got a very good frame. His frame really helps him stuff takedowns, which is obviously going to be pivotal in this fight because Makachev's definitely going to try and take this one to the ground. Because honestly, guys, Leon's striking is really high level, and I think it would give Makachev huge problems. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, but he dealt with Volk. He dealt with Volk, so Edwards' striking won't be a problem." Yeah, but you've got to consider the reach. The reach. Obviously, Leon's going to have a much bigger reach over Makachev. He's just got longer limbs. He's taller. He's just bigger in general, and obviously he punches way harder than Volk. Okay, because Volk ain't really known for his power, and I know Edwards ain't got a lot of knockouts, but he's still dangerous. So anyway, um, Edwards' striking is very high level. He's got amazing feints. He's got good hooks, good counters. He can dip out shots quite easily. He's got really high level footwork. Obviously, the edge I'd give to him over Volk when he fighting Makachev is that I think his kicking game is slightly better than Volk's. I know obviously Volk has good leg kicks, but he doesn't really mix it up. He'll rarely go to the body, and when he does, he's risking a lot because of his short reach, and he'll never go to the head, more or less. But Edwards, as we know very well, he has no problem going to the head, and he's basically dangerous the entire fight. This guy doesn't switch off. Any shot can put you out when it's Edwards because he's so precise. And obviously, that's going to really Makachev is going to have to be on his toes in this matchup. And it's in his best interest to get this fight to the ground. But here's the thing, Leon Edwards is not a slouch on the ground, okay? Has he got the jiu-jitsu awareness of Volk? Probably not, okay? But you've got to consider one thing, right? Edwards is much bigger than Volk, so Volk was already at a disadvantage in that fight. He's smaller, he's not as strong, he's just easier to basically manhandle because he's small, okay? Leon Edwards is not going to get manhandled by Makachev because first of all he's bigger than him, and second of all, look at him against Usman. He was in there in the trilogy fight. He was sound. Obviously he gassed out in the second fight, but if we're looking at evidence when Leon isn't gassed, look at the first round Leon in the second fight of Usman. He took him down. He was the first guy. Obviously I know Kobe kind of did it, but the first guy to officially take down Usman, and he got a beautiful trip on him straight into top mount. And honestly, guys, this is what we have to expect from Edwards. He's so high level. He's so well rounded. He's more well rounded than Makachev. Obviously, Makachev's got a wrestling advantage in this matchup. It's undeniable. But Edwards is still really good at grappling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He can threaten subs off his back. He'll try and take you down. You know what I mean? So he's dangerous. I think if Volk can take Makachev down, I think Edwards can. Okay, Edwards is bigger. He's got a better trip game. Really underrated trips. And first of all, one of the areas where Makachev was kind of dominating Volk that we've got to be aware of is the clinch, right? Leon Edwards' clinch is one of the best in the UFC. His clinch work is phenomenal. He can threaten knees, and his elbows are great on the break. So he's really, really good on the break. He dodges shots and encounters with elbows and stuff like that and hooks. So Makachev better be careful because he's used to destroying people in the clinch, okay? Because no one's as strong as him and no one's on his size. Like obviously Volk, his head is much nearer the knees of Makachev, so he could threaten knees down to Volk's face and stuff. That ain't gonna be a problem against Leon ain't gonna have that problem. Leon's the bigger guy here or a similar size. He can threaten elbows in the clinch. He can boss him about. The strength here is gonna be very similar, and I genuinely do think Leon is the more skilled fighter here all over. Obviously Makachev on the ground, if he's in a good position, it's trouble for Leon. But having said that, I think Leon can get back to his feet. Okay, he did it against Usman. Not a lot of people get up against Usman like immediately. He got up immediately multiple times. Really good at not getting his legs tied, not getting tripped. Uses the cage excellently. And if you look at Makachev, he quite likes the cage takedowns. He likes the cage. So it's quite well suited style matchup here for Edwards because he's good at getting up using the cage. Makachev doesn't really like to wrestle that much in the open. The Russian Sambo does kind of utilize the cage a bit, so it kind of benefits basically Makachev using the cage. Leon's fine with that though. He prefers the cage too, so there's not a huge advantage there. And like I said, Leon can threaten off his back. He's got cardio. We know he can go 5 rounds as long as it's at normal altitude. But that's the same with Makachev because he looked tired. He was slowing down definitely in the Volk fight. So I'd say the cardio is pretty similar. So I wouldn't really worry about Makachev pushing like an unbeatable pace and Leon would just gas and get subbed. Like I don't see that happening. Edwards is a special caliber fighter, and I really do think that Edwards is underrated. Am I saying he's going to win? Definitely no. I say this is a 50-50 fight, okay? But I'm picking Edwards. I think he's got the tools required to do this. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Edwards knockout. I can really just see it happening. I can see a really precise combo. I don't think there'll be a lot of exchanges. I think this will be quite a careful fight because neither man wants to engage too much. But I feel like there will be one exchange, and I think Leon will get the better of it. And I think he may flatline Makachev for the second time in his career. I think it's really possible. Both men are constantly improving. They're both around the same age, but I'm just gonna have to give Leon this one, And obviously Makachev has had good opponents too, but Leon. This is the thing with Leon. I've said it before. Look at my breakdown for Leon versus Kamaru Usman like a year ago. It's one of the first videos on my channel. I say this is the thing about Leon, right? That everyone forgets. People say, "Oh, he struggled to beat so-and-so. He struggled to beat so-and-so." Leon Edwards, basically, he only performs slightly better than his opponent in every fight. That's the way he fights, okay? So look at him against Nate Diaz, right? He did dominate, okay? But in the 5th round, he got caught, right? But he won the fight because he did slightly better in every round. He basically dominated. Or you compare him in the third Usman fight, right? He was slightly better than Usman, right? Slightly better, he won the majority of the rounds because he was slightly better, right? He rarely dominates a high level opponent, but that's just the way he fights. He just always fights slightly better than him. He just gets maybe that few more combos landed, maybe the better takedown landed or gets up. He makes the most of the round, and that's why I like Leon's chances because he's just always that little bit better than his opponent. He always finds a way to win. He's got very underrated fight IQ. And I think against Islam, I think he'll find a way to win. I don't know what it's going to be. I think he might knock him out, but I mean, he might win a decision. But we can't ignore that he might threaten us up. And obviously, I know Makachev has good jiu-jitsu, but Makachev's last few opponents, excluding Volk, they haven't had the best jiu-jitsu. Obviously, I know Armin Sarukin's a good wrestler, but that was a long time ago when he was young. But Drew Dober, he ain't throwing flying arm bars. He ain't throwing up triangles and stuff. But I think this will be a big step up in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, I know he fought Volk, but Volk wasn't really threatening the jiu-jitsu offensively. He was going more defensively. But I'm really backing Edwards to get this done. I think he's got a very good chance, and I think this is the fight to make. It'll be a big fight. I say let's do it for UFC 300 because then their schedules kind of match up. We'll get Edwards to fight Kobe in the meantime. I think he wins that fight. I think he wins it by maybe like 4th round TKO or 5th round TKO. And then their schedules will match up, I think that's good timing. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Comment down below who you think is going to win. Obviously, Makachev's still got a very good chance. I'm not denying that whatsoever. He could just take him down and sub him. But yeah, and he's got good stand-up too. Underrated power too. Thanks for watching. I'm MMA Tizzo. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any future content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.